I love Mexican food. Shrimp tacos, enchiladas, margaritas, salsas, guacamoles. It's fresh, it's bright, it's bold, it's so delicious. Well, today I'm gonna make one of my favorites, crab and shrimp enchiladas with a Poblano chili sauce. It's almost Cinco de Mayo and we must celebrate. Hey guys, so first to get started on our shrimp and crab enchiladas, we have a lot of mise en place. What's mise en place? It means everything in its place. We have a lot of ingredients. We're going to do all the prep work ahead, which will make for cooking so seamless and really easy and timely to get done. All right, so first we have our shrimp. I like to buy the shrimp with the shells on, devein them and remove the shells myself. Why? Because we're gonna use those shells. It's gonna boost flavor in our poblano sauce and make it really amazing. So here's what I did, removed all the shells, separated them. You want them all intact in one piece. And then I just slice the shrimp down lengthwise, just like that. It's just easier when you roll them in the tortilla shell. Okay, they're good to go. Let me just wash my hands. Get our heat cranking. And then the first thing we're gonna do is saute the shrimp, which takes pretty much no time, about 2 minutes. So the cooking is not what's gonna take a little bit of time with this recipe. I don't wanna sideswipe you here. There is a little bit of prep time involved in this recipe, but very little cook time on the stove. We finish it in the oven, which is great hands-free cooking. All right, salt and pepper. I already went ahead and minced about 3 cloves of garlic. So you want 2 tablespoons of canola oil. So we're gonna add the shrimp and half of that garlic. And I'm gonna save the shells. So while the shrimp is sauteing, I'm gonna prep my poblanos and the remainder of the garlic. The shrimp cooks really quick, and since we cut them in half, they're gonna cook even quicker. So we don't wanna overcook them. Once they turn pink, we're gonna remove them to a bowl. All right, so our shrimp into the bowl, they've already sauteed. And for the crabs, you want half a pound of lump crab. You want to rinse any of that brine or preservatives off of there, and then just strain it, just like I did, and then add it into the bowl with the shrimp. And now for the poblanos. So this is basically our sauce. We want to saute the poblanos first, because at the end, we're going to puree this mixture and make our very own homemade sauce. So a couple minutes. We just want them to be tender. All right, so while our poblanos are sauteing, I'm gonna make the salsa. So this is just a really simple salsa. I'm just dicing some tomatoes, adding a little bit of lime juice just for some acid, and some cilantro. Seasoned with salt and pepper, and this is gonna go inside the corn tortilla. I'm using corn tortillas. I found that, and listen, I've made a lot of enchilada recipes, and I love flour tortillas, but there's something a little extra special with corn tortillas. It really adds a great flavor. So this will go inside of those tortillas along with our crab and shrimp. A little bit of fresh lime juice into our salsa. And some cilantro. Just chop it up, and I'm gonna fold it right into our salsa. Season it with salt and pepper, and then check on our poblanos. All right, we are looking good. Nice and tender. We're gonna add the remainder of our minced garlic. Just saute that just until you smell it. And then we're gonna make a roux. I'm gonna add the remainder of our oil. We need that to make our roux. A good amount of all-purpose flour. So you just want to sprinkle that right over the top. Regulate your heat so that way we don't have any lumps. Take your whisk and whisk it. now the chicken stock. So you just want to slowly pour in the chicken stock. You want it to come up to a slight boil. That's when it comes to its full thickening power. While constantly whisking, so that way it's nice and smooth. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to reduce it to a simmer. So our sauce has come to a slight boil. It's already thickened. That's where we want it. So now we're going to reduce it to a simmer. Remember those shells? This is the time you want to add those shells in there. So it's going to add great flavor to the sauce. Okay, some cumin, cayenne, and salt and pepper. We're going to let it just cook out that raw flour flavor, develop all that delicious goodness. Extract the shells at the end and then puree the sauce. Our poblano sauce is ready. So we're going to pull out and remove those shells. All right, shells are out. Now we're ready to puree. So grab your blender. Put a lid on it. We're going to puree it until smooth. To prep our pan, you want to spray it with some cooking spray at the bottom. That way it just ensures our enchiladas don't stick. Then you want to take half of the sauce and then pour it right over the bottom. So that's our little cozy, delicious bed for our enchiladas. Now to assemble. So I went ahead, I have all of our corn tortillas, wrap them in heavy duty paper towels, a kitchen towel, pop it in the mic for about 30 seconds, 20-30 seconds. That way it makes them warm and pliable, easier to roll. So we're gonna work one at a time, keep them covered, that way they don't crack, and then we're gonna fill them. So here we have our crab and shrimp. So just evenly divide all the mixture among each tortilla. Our tomatoes and cilantro, just like that. Then you just want to take them, carefully roll them up, seam side down into the sauce. So here's how you're going to line them up. You're going to line them up this way, so lengthwise. That way we can fit all the enchiladas. All right, so here's the last tortilla. So you want to snug them in there, nice and snug, so push them to fit. And you can see how it's placed into my 9x12 baking dish. So you could pour the sauce evenly all over the enchiladas, but I like to just pour it right down the middle, exposing the ends ever so slightly, because what happens is when it's in the oven, they get nice and crisp. And I kind of like having that texture so they're not all soft and they get nice and crispy. Now for the cheese. So I went ahead, if you can find Monterey Jack cheese shredded, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Definitely buy that, it's a little time saver. But here I shredded my own, and you just want to add this right over top of the sauce. My oven is heated at 375 degrees. I'm going to place the enchiladas in there so they can bake for about 25 minutes. It is hot and bubbly, and that cheese has melted beautifully. So at this point, you want to let it sit and rest 10 minutes. If we dig into it now, first of all, it's just too hot, but everything will fall apart. So we want it to set up 10 minutes. Now we have to taste. Delicious fresh shrimp and crab, all smothered in that poblano chili sauce, surrounded and soaked in those corn tortillas. You are gonna love this. For the recipe, head over to the newspaper's website. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Until next time.